Hello, I'm Michaela and this is UK National Marriage Week 2020, the 11th to the 17th of May. It's finally here. If you've been following me on Marriage Week on social media, you'll have seen lots of posts about the Forever Conversation, this year's theme. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about that in just a moment, but just to say, normally we have a launch event for Marriage Week in a venue somewhere, but like the rest of the country, we're having to adapt and change because of lockdown. So the Marriage Week 2020 launch is here in my home, but I'm really glad that you're listening in, and thank you so much for everybody who's joined in so far. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of history first of all on Marriage Week, if I may. So Marriage Week began in 1997, and it was in fact the idea of Richard and Maria Kane. And they did such a fantastic job that they've actually encouraged other countries to join in and have their own Marriage Weeks as well. So it takes place in Europe, also in South Africa, New Zealand and America. Now in 2017, Marriage Week became a project of Marriage Foundation, and I'm the coordinator of UK Marriage Week. I also work for Marriage Foundation as the executive director, and it's a huge privilege for me to be able to run Marriage Week. Now, one other thing I'm going to say before I go on is I want to give a big thank you to all the organisations who support Marriage Week and join in by providing resources for our website, writing blogs, doing things on social media. You know who you are, and I am so grateful for all of your support, because actually this is a team effort. It doesn't just belong to Marriage Foundation, it belongs to all of these organisations. So do look at the website and see the different things that they've been able to contribute this year. So Marriage Week itself, the theme this year is the Forever Conversation. And the idea of Marriage Week is that couples can join in some way or other to celebrate the commitment of their relationship. And what's really exciting about this year is that rather than just kind of, if you like, a theme that really sounds like it's just for married couples, it's for couples who aren't married as well. In fact, from my point of view, I want everyone to join in, to invest in their relationship, to make their relationship stronger, and to make it a relationship that can last and work a lifetime. And so that's why this year's theme of the Forever Conversation is so significant. You see, this year, if you're married, the Forever Conversation is something that you can do together as a couple to talk about what you're doing to make your relationship last a lifetime. You see, when I said I do to my husband, if you like, 20 years ago, it wasn't that was it there and then. It's a continual investment into our relationship to make it grow and thrive and to get stronger, but also to tackle the tough times that will inevitably come along. So it's important, if you like, that we have a continual forever conversation. But for couples who aren't married, we're saying have a forever conversation this year during Marriage Week. And the point of the Forever Conversation for unmarried couples is that if you've been together, particularly for 2 to 3 years, and I'll tell you a bit more about that in a moment, but for around about that amount of time, you know enough about your partner to be able to make a decision about the future. So rather than drifting on perhaps with uncertainty, with ambiguity, perhaps an inequality of commitment, one of you is probably more committed than the other, but you've not had a conversation, so you don't actually know where you stand. So we're saying this year, Marriage Week 2020, have that forever conversation, talk about your relationship and whether you can see it lasting that lifetime. And if you do see that, well, then make that commitment to one another. And we're encouraging you obviously to get married at some point, maybe to make that commitment a formal thing. It could be civil partnership. It's about that point of commitment that removes the ambiguity and gives that sense of security. So this week, during Marriage Week, go to the website, marriage-week.org.uk, look at our resources. We've got questions about how you can have that lifetime together by going through these forever questions, if you like, for those who are married and those who aren't. And even if you're single as well, we've got 10 questions to help you to find that forever relationship. So that's the theme for this year. But one other thing that's a really important thing I want to tell you about, the Forever Conversation was inspired really by a book written by Harry Benson. Now, he is the research director at Marriage Foundation. Please look at the Marriage Foundation's website and see the work that he's done. And Marriage Foundation champion marriage and commitment from a sort of statistical point of view, if you like, from a research point of view. identifying that marriage is a really strong and stable way in which to bring up family, and it's good for society. And in fact, it continues to be the strongest form of committed relationship, the strongest form of relationship that can make marriages and families continue. Inevitably, troubles come along. Not every marriage will work, but they're 3 times as likely to work compared with couples who perhaps haven't made that final moment of commitment. Now, don't let that put you off. Stats, research is all about informing us to help us make really good choices. And we'll all know people in different situations, different circumstances, whereby for some couples they can be married and it doesn't work out. For some couples living together, it can work out brilliantly. However, they are in the minority. So we're encouraging you to think about making that point of commitment. And Harry's book is called Commit or Quit, the 2-year rule and other rules for romance. And this is why he says 2 years is such an important time. His research and his work that he's done has identified that with around that time of 2 to 3 years, it's a significant moment for most couples. You do know enough to make a decision about the future. So we're encouraging you to do that, to make that point of commitment if you would like to see that relationship last a lifetime. And the other side of it is, of course, if it's not going to last a lifetime, if you know that's true, who would want to carry on in that relationship? As hard as the decision may feel to end it, it's actually much better to stop a relationship that's drifting on in an ambiguous way, to stop that moment and say, okay, it's been good maybe, but this is the time to finish, and give time to find that forever relationship that you're really looking for. So Harry's book, Commit or Quit, the 2-year rule and other rules of romance, came out today, the very first day of Marriage Week. And if you search online, you'll be able to find it. And I encourage you just to read it, be challenged by it, be provoked by it, think about what the questions are saying. And the bottom line is, Harry is written from a point of view as saying, actually, as couples, we are all seeking reliable love. Every single person, all of us are looking for reliable love. We aspire to that lasting relationship. There's been a number of surveys and research done amongst younger people, and this may come as a surprise to you, but actually the majority of young people, more than 75%, would still say they would like to be married. But maybe that aspiration can feel like something that's more difficult to attain. But actually the reality is, it's learning about what strong, lasting relationships look like. And when I'm saying lasting and strong, I'm not talking about perfect. No relationship can be perfect. It's not possible. None of us are perfect. But every relationship requires us to invest in it, to make it work and last and to succeed. And actually, Harry says in his book that success is about making decisions in all of our areas of life. In order to succeed, a point of decision needs to happen, which is why we're saying, have the forever conversation this marriage week. Get Harry's book, have a read, go to the website, look at our resources, and challenge yourself as couples to think, okay, this is a good relationship, we're going to make it even better by formalising that commitment. Now, we're in the middle of lockdown, who knows what that looks like in terms of marriages and weddings and so on, but actually this is also a very poignant time to really reflect on the future, reflect on what is important to you right now, today. So I wish every couple the absolute best, and know for sure that what we're promoting here is not some kind of perfect, sort of Disney-esque type of thing. Marriage is brilliant, but it is work, it does require investment. In fact, on that note, please listen to the M-Word podcast, which is a podcast that I do with my husband Nick, and we talk really openly and honestly about relationships, the ups and downs, and it is for everybody, married or not. You are all very welcome to be part of that, and maybe to help us, to teach us some things as well. So, Marriage Week 2020, if you're married, what are you doing to make your relationship last a lifetime? Have a date this week, one at home obviously, and talk about what you're doing, celebrate what's good and invest further. If you're not married, have that forever conversation. Where does the future, what does the future hold for you? Where is it leading you? Make some really good decisions for yourself and for each other. And if you're single, have a look as well and look at how you can aspire and reach that goal of a forever relationship. And don't forget to read Harry's book, Commit or Quit, the 2-year rule and other rules for romance. Thank you so much for joining me for the launch of Marriage Week online. Here I am in my home. It's been really great to have you, and have a great week and have a forever conversation.